was correct about his claim that Trump Tower was wiretapped by the Obama administration. First, the New York Times breaking fresh details about Special Counsel Robert Mueller's raid of Manafort's Virginia home in July. They say agents picked the lock to Manafort's door as he was sleeping. The Times also reporting that Manafort and his legal team were told he's likely to be indicted. Not necessarily shocking to the Trump legal team. People close to the president have told me they've been expecting potential charges against Manafort and retired General Mike Flynn, who today announced the creation of a legal defense fund. But a source close to the president told me tonight we should pay close attention to this second leak to CNN, claiming Manafort was wiretapped based on secret court orders before and after the 2016 election. The first wiretap, we should note, dating as far back as 2014, before the campaign. But this source tells me the second wiretap after the election came after the FBI embraced some of the details of that Russian dossier of then-President-elect Trump that has since been discredited. I'm hearing that the judges who approved this court order at the FISA court, the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act court, are privately miffed that this wiretap of Manafort was tied to what is now a discredited report. So tonight, the plot thickens, not just on whether Manafort and others in the Trump orbit will face indictments, but the plot thickens on whether the president was correct about his claim that Trump Tower was wiretapped and this was a witch hunt. The president's critics laughed that off, but remember, we've been told Manafort also owned a home, yes, in Trump Tower, and CNN is reporting that Manafort was wiretapped during a time period where he was still in phone contact with President Trump. So there's a lot developing tonight, and we're still digging on the facts, Dana.
All right, thank you, Ed. Appreciate it. President Trump is back in his hometown of New York City this week for the annual United Nations General Assembly, where he's meeting with fellow heads of government, including Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and French President Emmanuel Macron. With his America First slogan, Mr. Trump is an intense critic of the UN for what he believes is waste and mismanagement. In his first visit to the body as president, Mr. Trump called for major reforms.
We seek a United Nations that regains the trust of the people around the world. In order to achieve this, the United Nations must hold every level of management accountable, protect whistleblowers, and focus on results rather than on process. We encourage all member states to look at ways to take bold stands at the United Nations with an eye toward changing business as usual and not being beholden to ways of the past which were not working.
All right, Greg, so previous presidents may have said it, but I think that the United Nations thinks that this one really means it.
Yeah, yes. First of all, we have to talk about him calling Kim Jong-un Rocket Man. I think he should continue this. He should refer to Netanyahu as Benny and the Jets and Macron Tiny Dancer. Donald Trump is closest to American attitudes about the UN that you will ever find. He realized,
and willing to say.
Yes, we've all figured this out. We all, especially people who live around this horrible place. It's basically Epcot Center without the amazing food court. And like, finally, we have a president that says we're going to reform it. And for the longest time, the UN has always pointed fingers at us, passing judgment on us while they double park their limos, they don't pay their parking tickets, they harass our call girls, they close down department stores so they can buy their mistress a stuffed boar.
What?
And they tell
Did that
us.
happen?
No, I made that up.
Oh.
But what I'm saying is that they come here and they take advantage of this country. They have a free ride here, and it's nice that a president is saying the word reform, because reform means we're now looking at you. Mm-hmm. We're looking at you. You've got to change your ways. Enough about us, or U.S.
I have to take issue with something Gutfeld just said. I've been to the UN, and their food court is fantastic.
Are you sure that wasn't?
Is it like can you get everything from all around the world?
Everything.
What's your
Anything
favorite?
Mongolian.
Okay.
It's terrific.
The beef?
I can't believe I'm saying that, of course. Thanks for clarifying, Kimberly.
Thank you.
After some of the other commentary. I can't believe I'm saying this. I miss Gaddafi. Remember when Gaddafi would come in during the UN General Assembly and he wouldn't sleep in a hotel? He would pitch a tent in Central Park.
Yeah.
Those were the good old
Wait,
days.
we didn't let him do that, did we?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We absolutely did.
Amazing.
I know. And Central
The
Park
good
is
old
much
days.
safer
Yes,
because of it.
yeah.
I think the UN is only as strong as the U.S. makes it. And President Trump puts the bully in bully pulpit. He's going to come in and say, just like he did with NATO, pony up, pay your fair share, carry your own burden, because he realizes the United States is not going to be able to pay for this and do all this stuff forever, just like he did with NATO. Now, the Security Council's been more useful to the president than the House and the Senate to a certain extent. He hasn't got a lot legislatively done, but he's got